This is episode 4 of Barn Talks, and I'm jumping on here with a good buddy of mine, Anthony Brocato. Thank you for taking the time today, dude. I really do appreciate it. This is going to be a blast. I think some guys are going to get some crazy knowledge out of today, so I'm excited to see where this conversation leads. Obviously, we got some talking points we're going to hammer out, but the fun part about just having a good conversation is where it all ends up at the end of the day. But first off, I want to say thank you for your time. Obviously, I appreciate you. It's a gloomy Monday morning for both of us, so hopefully this brightens the day a little bit.
Yeah,
Um
appreciate it.
where well, first off, I'll ask the question. Well, where are you at? I know where you're at, but everybody
Yeah,
that's around, where are you from? A little background on you and
yeah.
then and we'll kind of roll from there.
I'm in Jersey right now, so I've been living in Jersey since I'm four. So
Love
currently
that.
in New Jersey and just living life, taking the off season day by day.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right, dude. So, first piece that I wanted to touch on, because I've been getting a ton of this, whether it's DMs or clients that I have or
Okay.
future or old clients, whatever I want to say, but how to deal with struggle, man. You and I both went through that pretty roughly. Obviously, you had as great of a senior year as you would have hoped. I didn't have as
Right.
great of a senior year as I would have hoped. And the funny thing is you were one of the first people that kind of messaged me during my senior year. So
Mhm.
it's kind of cool how obviously our brotherhood of the Johnnies and whatnot, but little bit on that. Touch on that. I know it's a very blank or bland statement, but
Yeah.
touch on it in a couple ways that you want to, and then we'll just kind of roll from there.
Um, yeah, struggle's tough because it's almost like you have expectations for what you have and you don't know how to deal with the failure of it.
Hmm.
So it's actually funny because you mentioned how you have some clients and all that. There's a high school kid. He's a senior in high school at the high school I went to, and
Hmm.
he asked me about it. And he's like, "Dude, I have all these expectations of what I have. I want to get my 100 hits. I want to
Yep.
go 30-30. I want to do all this stuff." And he just wasn't on the road for it. And he was pressing so much. And then he asked me, he's like, "Hey, dude, like, when did you struggle?" It's like, I didn't struggle in high school. I'm sorry to tell you.
Yeah.
Like, my struggle didn't happen in high school. I didn't focus on mechanics. I never failed until college.
Hmm.
Um, so I didn't understand struggle until like my freshman year of college when I didn't really get to play much. Sophomore year was injury-ish. Junior year, I had a really good year. And the senior year was the major downfall of struggle. And in my whole senior year, I never got over it. So
Yeah.
like, I remember there was a time my senior year where I was literally like depressed. And it's funny
Hmm.
because the whole thing came out with Jared Duran
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I literally went through, I didn't go through something that extreme,
Hmm.
but I went through something like that in college where I wrote a letter. I was miserable. I literally remember writing a hat or writing in my game hat. I'm like dead man walking. I was like, I did not want to be there.
Yeah.
And it was the expectation of I was supposed to get drafted
Hmm.
out of my junior year because I had a really good junior year. And then I had a scout tell me, "Hey, like you have to do better." I'm like, "Dude, I can't do any better than that." I was like, I was leading. I led
What do
the
you want
team
me to do, man?
literally. I led the team in every offensive category besides batting average. Like, what do you want me to do? He's like, "You have to
Yeah.
do." So I tried to do better, and then everything just went downhill. And from
Hmm.
there, I saw numbers deplete. I was like, I'm not gonna get drafted. This is a terrible year. Everything was
Hmm.
just going down. So the way I got over it, I simplified it, and it was it took me over a year to kind of figure it out and some just mental digging. And when it came down to, I quit baseball after my senior year when I didn't get drafted,
Hmm.
and I knew I was going to regret it. So I ended up talking to my dad, and he's like, "Dude, just go to an open tryout
Hmm.
and just go into it with no expectations. Just do your very best, and whatever
Yeah.
happens, happens." Right? It's like, and I feel like that mindset has carried me a long way when it's come to baseball.
Hmm.
Because if I have no expectation on the outcome or what is going to happen, I could have goals,
Yeah.
and the goals drive me, and the process of everything drives me to my goals. But if I don't have expectations of meeting my goals, I'm just like, hey, today, one day.
Hmm.
It's that's it.
Yep.
It's if I go over, I go over. Did I do my very best? And then after every at bat, after every game, I literally look at the game, look at my offensive ability, and see, okay, Did I do my very best today? Was my mind wandering today?
Hmm.
Was I like in the zone, or was I thinking about something that happened in the past, or was it something that happened, was I anticipating something to happen in the future?
Yep.
But one of the things is, if I have the no expectation and I continue to kind of just stay present, it simplifies it for me. And that's the
Yeah.
one thing that's kind of allowed me to deal with struggle, because when it comes down to it, it's part of the game. And that's, I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to maturing as a baseball player.
Hmm.
Struggle is just struggle is failure, right? In
Yeah.
a way. But what is failure? Failure isn't failure, it's a lesson. It's teaching
Hmm.
you where you can get better and how to get better. It's just you have to look at it like that.
1000%. Like
So
there are so many times where someone goes on like an 0 for 8 skid and they're like, "Ah, dude, I'm the worst." And it's like, dude,
yeah,
eight at bats is 2 days maybe of games.
yeah,
Like you just can't look at it that way. You can't get so down on yourself so fast.
mhm,
Um, the big thing that I've been saying a lot recently is like, don't forget who you are and what you were, right? Like there's some kids that I work with that are studs. And I mean like very good athletes, like high school guys that should have gotten drafted, ended up going into some really, really good schools and then struggle a little bit because they're off playing time, don't have their timing, all this stuff, right? But when they take their live at bats, they hit a double or a homer. And then when they get in the game, it's like they've never seen the baseball before. It's like, okay, that's fine. But dude, like, relax, remember who you are. Go through a little bit of like a highlight reel too. Like, don't be afraid to look at stuff that you've done well and also give you that little bit of that little chip on your shoulder, man. Like, don't lose that little bit of grit that you have and don't lose that little bit of a chip because that's what really keeps that edge over of like exactly what you said. Your expectations lead to everything. If your
yeah,
expectation is to hit 1,000, you're already setting yourself up for the worst failure you could ever have. So it's one of those of just how to figure out where we're at and kind of what you need to accomplish. And I think the biggest thing, like so many people don't have a routine that they actually do and stick with. So
yeah.
like if you get stuck searching for something every day, I'm I'm very guilty of this. Don't get me wrong.
I
Like
do. Yeah,
there's definitely been a point where I was in college where I know our junior year I was struggling for a little bit. And I say struggle, dude. I had like 3 bad games and it would be like 2 games in a row and then it'd be a midweek and I'd be like, dude, like I can't even hit against Iona right now. Like what am I doing?
yeah,
And then
me
all of
too.
a sudden it happens, right? Like then I'm calling our our volley, Josh Ake. I'm like, hey dude, I need to get in. He's like, all right, what time do you want to be there? I was like, dude, meet me there at 6:30. Let's see if we can get some swings done. 2 hours later, I don't even feel better. Like, yes, it was an awesome time and I got to get swings in, but you're searching for something without a basis for what gets you right. Like there's
Yeah,
so many things that go into it. I know you touched a little bit on the draft side. So the draft is such a blessing and a curse, man, because for so many people it changes their life, and then for so many people it changes their life. So
yeah,
it's one of those like how obviously I have my experiences with that. We can talk about that later, but what was your experience? Obviously, junior year, you talked about having a scout like reach out to you and be like, "Hey, dude, like
yeah,
you got to do more." Was there anybody else on that trend too of reaching out and being like, "Hey, Brock, like we see you in the 17th round or the 8th round or the 6th or whatever." Like, was there anticipation going into the draft or was it more so like you had great numbers? It's like, "Hey, dude, let's just see. I just want to see what happens."
yeah. I think honestly, I think there was more anticipation at a high school because I was given a number of what not to go under, and there
Fair
was a high
enough.
and it was a high number.
Yeah,
When I went to college, it was I had a really good junior year, so I expected to get picked up because I was like, dude, like even though I feel like when it comes to college, if you have 2 good years, there's a chance, like two like relatively good consistent years, there's a pretty good chance you'll get picked up.
for sure.
And I didn't really understand that because I didn't really play my freshman year. My sophomore year was kind of a bust because I played half the year because I was hurt. And then I
Yeah.
had one really good year my junior year. And then if in my head, when the guy said, "Hey, you have to do better," if he just said, "Hey, do the same thing, you have a pretty good chance of getting picked up as a senior."
It would
I
have been way
probably
different.
pressure would have been off. I'm like, that's easy, man. Like I
Yes.
don't have to hit 15 home runs, 20 home runs. I get to just hit 10 again and bat
Yes.
300. And I mean, if I looked at it like that, it would have probably I wouldn't have had the expectation of doing more, and I wouldn't have tried as hard in a way
Agreed.
of that caused me to fail more.
Agreed.
Um, but going into my senior year, I didn't really have. I mean, we had the fall meetings with scouts, and I mean, there wasn't a round that anyone ever said. It was something expected at that point because I
Mhm.
was the Big East preseason player of the year
Yep.
going into my senior year.
Yep.
So when it came down to it, I was like, okay, if I have a fucking good year, sorry, if I have a
No,
good year,
you're good. You're good. You're good.
if I have a good year, like I'll get picked up.
Yeah. No doubt about
So,
it. I
uh,
totally get that.
so,
But
but yeah, it wasn't.
that's the same. Like, so I went to, I didn't have like any, I had like zero interest out of high school, really. I had a couple like scouts that we would do like area code game stuff with, and they liked who I was and how I played. But I was still kind of scrawny, didn't really have the size that I needed to. I was like 6'3", but like 185 pounds. So like I needed to put on more weight. And that was like my goal. I was like, okay, I get to 210 and this will be a game changer. Yeah, I was a really good player my senior year, but still, it was nothing like where somebody came up to me and they're like, hey, dude, like you need to get an agent like yesterday. That never really happened throughout, like, I don't want to say never happened. My sophomore year at community college, when I played really well, I was an All-American. It was like, holy shit, dude. All these people come out of the woodwork and they're like, hey, man, where have you been? Like, did you live under a rock for 2 years? Or how does nobody know who you are? And then all of a sudden everybody's there. In very similar scenario, like sat down with my coach at in JUCO and we were like, hey man, let's look at the draft for the last like 3 years. Like what number should we even be around? Like
Yeah,
where does this go? How does it look? And other players that are similar and all those kinds of things. And so obviously you get told that. We had a few Rays guys that were always around, and then they bring their cross checker in like two or three times, and it's like, oh my God, dude, like it's kind of stressful when you know people are there, dude. Like I'd rather people just tell me after the game, like, hey, dude, great job, saw you there. But when you get told before the game that this guy's coming, that guy's coming, it's like, oh, okay, it's a different kind of focus that you have, right? Because you have to block out the craziness, and then
hmm,
it goes all the way back to if you just compete, you can be fine, but if you lose the compete factor, you have no chance to focus on anything. And
yeah,
obviously going through my junior year, as you know, I was with you, like I had a pretty good junior year. Even I mean, even Bone and Blanks were like, hey, dude, like take what you can get.
yeah.
If you don't get this, you have a spot at school. If you get this,
Take it.
I don't expect to see you back next year. You'll always
Yeah,
have a home here, but I don't expect to see you. And then I know immediately following the draft, Blanks called me and he goes, man, like number one, how are you? Number two, like obviously we want you back. And number three, like, hey, dude, like we'll do whatever we need. Like, let's see what we can do again. And then fast forward to senior year and holy buckets, dude. I mean, that was not a fun one. We started out against UCLA and they were the greatest team on earth that year.
and
And
like the AAA pitching staff that year.
it was unbelievable.
Yeah,
When I tell you every single person was like 88 to 92 and they had the exact same arsenal from the exact same arm slot, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And they had like five first rounders on that team. I just went to a Brewers game. Their center fielder was playing center field. Like he was in the big leagues. Their first baseman's with the Rockies. It was a really cool experience. It was, but I was a fish out of water in that series, and I know a lot of us were, but going on to that, like you get told by all these people in the fall meetings, like, hey man, like just do what you do and you'll find a really cool home when you get done with this and all these conversations, and then all of a sudden it gets down to it and you just can't stop thinking about it. Like, oh, it's my dream to go do this, or oh, it's my life to go do this. Like I've worked so hard for this, and then you just can't get out of your own way. It's such a like devastating point in your career when you get to that mental point of understanding like, hey man, maybe it's not meant to be. And back to the original point, obviously, of talking a little bit more about the draft, but it's a crazy way of watching that day go by everybody, and the best advice that I got, I didn't follow. By the way, I'll stay with that. Don't watch the draft. That is the best thing that you can do. My junior year, I was driving home, so I had 14 hours to drive home, right?
Hmm.
I had the draft on my phone the whole time. And like, what else was I supposed to do, dude? I watched Kevin get drafted. I watched all these guys get drafted, and like, I was like, fuck, man, like maybe it's gonna be me or maybe it's not, but like, whatever. Don't watch the draft is my gist out of this whole period, a whole story and points of it. Go be you, and if the fun thing happens, man, your phone's on. Go golf, go do whatever it is. Like now I would golf, but back then I would have definitely not golf. But all the fun stuff.
Right.
So I'll move on to the next point because we can hammer
All
that point for all day,
the
dude, and I mean all day. So biggest thing that obviously I got to see with you is one when you went to the minors, your first year. I say minors, the Southern Illinois minors. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, independent
Um,
ball.
um, when you went to when you went down south, like what your first year you got hurt, or was it your second year you
Yeah.
got hurt?
No, 19. So, um, I ended up going to, so after I quit after college and I
Yep.
quit for 6 months, I went to the open tryout. It was a 2 week open tryout. I spent all of my college, my graduation money
Yep.
on a plane ticket and all that. And I went to an open tryout, and it was a 2 week open tryout. Got picked up, or I got offered a spring training spot for after the first week.
Okay.
I led the whole camp in like hitting and all that. I had thought that spring training spot meant I was on the team. It did not.
Oh my God.
I had to play my ass off to actually earn a spot on the team. And I did that. I went into the camp, no expectation,
Hmm.
thinking I was already on the team. I went in, no expectation, and I led the whole team for spring training. Dude, I'd bat like 600 with like a home run, and like my outfield defense was insane.
Let's
Like,
go.
threw people out. It wasn't. It was like, who's this 24-year-old that was supposed to get drafted that didn't?
Yeah.
And I led. I was the last person to make the team. It was me or this other outfielder who they had from last year, who was my age, and he was an Arkansas guy.
Okay.
Um, and it was Luke Bonfield. I don't know if you know the name,
I don't know the
but
name off the top of my head.
he's another Jersey guy. He actually, it's funny. Actually, he beat me out in a previous thing called the Area Code Games, and he
Hmm.
beat me out in that when we were in high school. And
Yep.
he was like a big name out of high school and in Jersey. So I ended up like beating him out and in pro ball or however it happened.
So
But
so cool how the world revolves, man. It's
really,
such a cool world.
really, so that ended up happening. I since I was one of the only guys who wasn't affiliated on the team, I had to wait my turn, and
Hmm.
it was my rookie year, and I the guy ahead of me was 0 for 12 with 12 strikeouts, and I finally got my chance 5 games in,
Oh my
and I
God.
went my first game. I went 3 for 4 with a home run. Didn't look back. I started the season with a 10. I think it was a 10 game hit streak,
Hell yeah.
and my legs were not conditioned for it. And booking it, this is a day we had a doubleheader, and I'm Ryan McCullough actually was on the team at that time.
That's
Swaggies.
hilarious, actually.
Yeah.
I remember for a very short period of
Uh,
time that he was down. That's hilarious. Okay.
he was my first base coach when it all happened, I think. And I was gonna ask my manager, who I was terrified to, but I was gonna ask him, hey, I need a day off. My legs are killing me. Like my right
Yeah.
leg specifically is tight. And I was playing through it, and I was 0 for 2 on the day. I wanted to keep the hit streak alive. I had a little slow roller to third. I book it out of the box, and I blow out my quad. I tore my rectus femoris in my quad.
Oh my God.
Missed the rest of the year.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and at that time I was leading. I mean, I was leading the league in every offensive category. Even though it was pretty early, I was still leading the
Hmm.
league in offense, or at least top five and everything. And and that was it. They said, "Hey, after
Dang.
the injury, we'll bring you back for next year. We want to." And that's when the minimum for a rookie in any ball was $600 a month.
That's crazy.
So in
Oh
19,
my God.
2019, I made 600 a month after taxes. I was like clearing just about 300,
Yeah.
and I lost money.
Literally lost money, dude. Just to eat, you need more money than that.
2020 happened, didn't play, and then I went back to the same team in 21 for my actual rookie campaign,
Hmm.
um, and had a good rookie campaign, and just
Love
went.
it.
Yeah,
So that's actually funny because your manager was Mike, right? It was Pinto.
Mike Pinto. Yeah.
So he's actually the Slammers guy right now, and one of my other guys that I work with, he was an all-star last year as a rookie, and now he's going back for his second year there.
Okay.
And it's a small world, man. Mike's been around forever, it seems like. I slowly joke around that if my guy gets drafted and they need a guy, I'm like, hey man, just give me like 2 days. You don't even have to pay me. Just let me put the jersey on one more time. So
Yeah.
it's kind of funny how the world, like I said, it's a small world in baseball, dude. You know, everybody knows everybody at a certain point. Um, for you, you talked about like the legs not being under you. What what made you change your mindset on off-season training to like actually really be prepared? Like obviously us being a college guy or college guys,
Yeah.
we everything's told to us. You need to do this, you need to do that, do this, do that. Run this mile in this amount of time, do that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden your first off season, you have no clue what to do. Like
Yeah.
literally no idea, and you have 5 months until you show up again.
It's all trial and error. So
It's
that
all
is
trial and error.
all trial and error, but it's so it's a bunch of things. I'm really big on finding a coach, whether it's a hitting coach, a strength coach,
Hmm.
anything you need. The I am very highly and strongly opinionated. If the coach can't tell you why you're doing something, they're not a good coach.
1000%.
That is, and I'm gonna be very blunt. I haven't really had many coaches in my past when it comes to strength and conditioning, when it comes to baseball. They tell me to do things, but they
Hmm.
don't tell me why if I ask the question.
Hmm.
So like for me, when it came down to it, I literally this year is the first year I learned why conditioning is important. I never understood. Everyone's like, "Hey, do this conditioning." Why do I have to do the conditioning? Do I need my heart to feel good? And
Yeah.
then I was like, "Nah, man." It's like I came across it and it was conditioning certain muscles isn't the fact that it's to build up the endurance of the muscle to allow it to fire and recover faster.
Hmm.
So I never understood that. I was just always do conditioning. I never took my conditioning serious.
Hmm.
So previous years, like what was it, the year before? Actually not it wasn't last year. So the year before last, I my legs were the strongest they've ever been. And my strength coach was great. He provided a strength program for me. He did all this and he added conditioning. I'm like, conditioning. Over here. And
Yes.
I ended up hurting I literally tore my same quad last that year because it
Jeez.
wasn't ready. I happened in spring training on my first double I hit. I was rounding
Hmm.
second and I popped it. I'm like, dude, what the hell is going on? It's like these are the strongest and healthiest my legs have ever been.
Hmm.
And I didn't take the conditioning serious. I'm like, that makes so much sense looking back on why all of my leg injuries
Hmm.
I get my legs so strong, but I don't condition them properly. So like
Yeah.
when it comes down to it, it's like everything comes from trial and error and then understanding why you're doing it.
Hmm.
So when I talk hitting, it's the same thing. It's
Hmm.
hey, like sorry. When I
No,
talk
you're
hitting,
good.
it's
You're
the same.
good.
Yeah. When I talk hitting, it's the same thing though. It's like I make sure to explain why I
Hmm.
want you to do a certain movement
Hmm.
because you need to understand it. My job as a coach is to teach you why. It's
Hmm.
not to tell you what the hell to do because if I just tell you, you're just going to do it and then you're not going to understand it. You're not
Hmm.
supposed to stick with me for years and years at a time. My job is to allow you to grow as a player and as an athlete to help you
Hmm.
move on to excel. So you don't need me. You can come back to me for a reference, but get the hell away from me. I did my job. I helped you out. You understand the swing now. I'll gladly
Yeah.
help you, but like I have a 9-year old who literally knows why and what he's doing. 1 minute.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah. How you doing? I'm doing well. I'm on an interview. What can I help you with?
Yo, it's funny though, like touching on that point, 1000% yes.
Yeah.
Like I try to tell everybody, I'm trying to make you your best coach.
Yeah.
If you understand everything, like you just said, you make the decisions. And I go back to this all the time. Like a good hitter makes an adjustment at bat by at bat, right? A really, really, really good or a great hitter makes adjustments pitch by pitch.
Yeah.
If you can understand what you did on why you missed that heater that was belt high and you were just under it, that pitch, it makes it a heck of a lot easier that at bat when it gets to 1-2, 2-2, when they go right back to it because you just missed it. So you're able to attack certain parts of the game and your game that make just your life so much easier.
Yeah,
Don't be the guy that goes out there and fails and does the same thing wrong for four at bats and then doesn't realize what he has to do different the next day.
100%.
There's so many bad things that come from that, but the big piece of the offseason side, and then obviously looking at your numbers, like your numbers are fucking stupid, stupid. You hit for power at a very extreme rate right now. And what kind of
Yeah,
like your first year was it 21? How many home runs did you hit in 21?
17.
So 17, you went from 17 to then it was like 25.
24, 28, and 29.
So what was the biggest jump from you? Obviously in college you hit 10, I think it was 12 your senior year
It was
and
11 the senior year.
11 senior year. So
Yeah,
when you went from 11 to 17, obviously it's more at bats in pro ball.
yeah.
What was the biggest transition or the biggest piece that you like tried to keep? Because obviously I know when you get hot and you hit home runs in bunches and it's like I feel like every game's a two home run game.
Yeah,
They just
that
they come in couples, but what kind of changed in your mindset and I guess from the longevity of the season, like I never tried to think about home runs. Like,
yeah.
is that a thought for you, or is it more so
No,
like, hey, I'm just trying to backspin the ball, and if I can hit it through the gaps, I have a really good chance of doing well.
I just try to hit the ball hard,
Yeah.
and like, I'm really big on like with everything nowadays with launch angle. I'm not a
Hmm.
fan of it. I teach all the kids. I'm like, guys, understand this. If you hit a line drive, your miss hit is a double to a home run. Your miss hit on
Exactly
the
right.
ground is a base hit.
Hmm.
So we're trying to save the average, and then your home runs and doubles are accidents. If you have the juice for it, you'll hit the home run, the double. But when it comes
Exactly.
down to it, like, I mean, you can look at my swing and it looks like I'm trying to lift every ball. That's just how my swing is.
Hmm.
And honestly, that's where like understanding the off season and having all the trial and error, it's made changes and I've looked at my seasons, and if you look at my seasons, I'm freaking consistent in every
Hmm.
aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's home runs are at damn near the same rate. It's like 11 to 13 at bats every year. Then
Yeah.
it's my doubles are damn near the same, like equal to doubles per at bat are damn near equal. RBIs
Okay.
are around the same. Everything's the same. Even my strikeout percentage is the same. But
Hmm.
for me, my strikeout percentage is too high, so I had to change some stuff. I'm like,
Hmm.
well, why is everything else good and everything and my strikeouts are up? So for me,
Hmm.
it's making the adjustment of, do I have to change my swing or do I have to look at something different? And that for
Hmm.
me is um, coming from approach. So
Yeah, for
this,
sure.
but going back to the question, it was just trying to figure out.
Yeah, touch back
So yeah,
on
it was
obviously like your numbers and things along those lines.
yeah. So with the numbers, everything's was really consistent, and obviously as an athlete, you have to figure out where you have to improve every year.
Yeah.
So for me, every year has been strikeout percentage is like 30%, which is too damn high.
Yeah.
So with that, it's how do I figure that out? And for me, it's looking at, and this is the worst part, it's looking yourself in the mirror and being like, what am I striking out at? How am I striking out? What's
Hmm.
going on?
Yeah.
And it's funny because in college, I didn't have an approach. I didn't have an
Fair
approach at
enough,
all.
dude.
It was, hey, hit the ball, see the ball, hit the ball. If it's a strike, I'm swinging, I'm trying to barrel.
Yep.
Um, when it came to pro ball for the first year, it was the same thing because the level of pitching was damn near the same.
Yep.
Same with the second year. Then guys started figuring me out a little bit, um, and I had to figure out an approach. So then my approach became like middle away because that's how everyone was attacking me, and I had more
Yep.
success. And by the time I figured out an approach for that, um, that was my most successful year. I had 28. No, I had 20. I had 25 and batted like 315.
Nice.
And
Okay.
then, um, and then with that approach, I also took that to the next year, and my strikeout numbers decreased by I think 7%. So I was at like 22%. Um,
Not
and
bad, dude.
then home runs went to 28. Yeah, so that went down, and then last year was the best pitching I faced, and I tried that approach, and it didn't work for me because the
Hmm.
stuff was just nastier.
Yeah.
Um,
Get you
so it
to
was like,
chase way easier.
yeah, and the spin rate was way higher. They were living up in
Hmm.
the zone, and their curveballs and sliders had way more bite. I was facing Double A, Triple A, and big league arms,
Yeah.
and um, it wasn't a wake up call because I still had success. It was just the lowest my batting average was. My strikeout percent was still the same, and my home
Hmm.
runs and RBIs were still up.
Yeah.
So when it came down to it for this off season, I went straight to my weakness, which is fastballs up and high spin
Hmm.
rate, because I
Yeah.
was never confident in it. And what I kind of realized was if I get comfortable hitting that and I'm able to flatten out my swing, um, it should helped me in the season because all my strikeouts were on pitches down.
Yeah.
I would chase sliders down. So if that low pitch isn't something that is as enticing, and I'm confident in hitting the pitch up, I should have a lot of success, and everything should kind of go down when it comes to punchies.
Yeah.
Um, but that's just something that I'm always trying to figure out. It's like people don't have an answer how to lower your strikeout percentage or stop swinging and missing. So when it comes
Yeah.
down to it, I think it really just comes down to you being disciplined in the approach and being as
Hmm.
prepared as you possibly can. You can do anything you have to mechanically, but when it comes down to it's like it comes down to the pitches you swing at and how good is your bat
1000%.
skill.
One
You
thousand
know?
percent. And really, it's like you said, it's
Yeah.
the pitch selection's the worst part. Like if you're a consistent guy that's going to swing at the
Yeah.
slider down and away, dude, they're going to keep throwing the slider down and away. You have to prove that you can actually get them off
Yeah.
of it and that you're willing to be off of it. That's the number one thing. Like I do think it's a funny transition because you talked about the heater up. Like the heater up for me, man, like as a catcher, I love it. So many swings are built for down in the zone. So if you can't hit the ball up, dude, like that was the easiest day I'd ever, literally the easiest days I had was bell tie heaters and a couple sliders because everybody swings through the bell tie heater because it looks so good. But if you have a guy
Yeah.
that has an extra 2 inches of vert, like it's over. You literally can't hit it. So it's definitely tough. And obviously, the guys that spin it really well usually spin the other stuff really well too. So it makes it
Yeah.
really hard to lock down on one. Like we always used to talk about in college, like when you get the little scouting report, it's like, hey, dude, like 80% heater, 20% slider, doesn't throw the changeup 0.5% of the time, whatever, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
eliminate that one, eliminate the other ones, hit the heater, see it up. Like some
Yeah.
very simple stuff. But now you're at the point where you probably got, I mean, at least, I don't even know how many at bats do you have in indie ball? 2000 at bats? 1500?
It's probably just about 400 a year for 5 years. So yeah, just about 2,000.
About 2000. So like you have they have numbers on you and hot zones, cold zones on you
Right.
that obviously build into them trying to beat you. But then it comes back to like, okay, you looking at your cold zone and being like, okay, well, can I actually hit that ball better, or am I just better off staying in my hot zone? Like
Right.
there's some big questions that get asked that don't really that not a lot of people think about, right? Like some people
Yeah.
always are like, well, you need to work on your weakness. You need to work on your weakness. But then at a certain point you lose your strength. So
Yeah.
are you a better hitter with no weakness, or are you a better hitter with your absolute strength? Like that's like telling anybody in the big leagues, like look at Jordan Alvarez or somebody like, hey, inside half of the plate, you should probably cut that off because your outside half of the plate is like 20% barrel percentage, but your inside half is like 75. So
Yeah.
like, actually, let's try to even that out to 35 and 35, and we'll see how it works out for you. Like there's a certain part of it's almost like a little bit of gambling. Like, hey man, we're gonna try this, and let's put all our eggs in that basket.
Yeah.
It's interesting. That's the stuff that I nerd out about because now being a hitting guy, like I love that stuff. I love looking at Baseball Savant and looking at numbers on people
Mhm.
from 19 all the way through 25. Like it's fun, and
Yeah.
it's the chess game in the game. Like there's so many moves that you have to do and have to make. But
Yeah. I feel
yeah,
like with that, it's if you work on your weakness, you have to make sure you're equally working on your strength though, right?
one
So it's
thousand
like
percent.
so when it comes down to it, yeah, I might be working on an approach of looking for a heater or something with high spin up in the zone, but it doesn't mean I don't hit the ball down still. Doesn't mean I'm still
Yeah,
not working on that part of the zone, but it's
exactly.
just for me, the approach behind it makes the game so much easier, especially if you are
Hmm.
disciplined to it.
Yep.
Because this is how I put it for all the young guys. It's like, guys, if I were to, how confident are you if I were to put a fastball down the middle off of a pitching machine? Can you hit it on the barrel? They say yes. Okay. So what happens if I put a fastball away for the pitching machine? Are you going to hit it? Yes. How about up, down, wherever? They say, yeah. I'm like, that's all a good approach does. It makes the pitcher a
Hmm.
pitching machine.
Yes.
So all you're doing is you're locking in, you're zoning in, and you're making life a lot easier for you. You're not trying to cover all 9 zones in every single
Yeah.
pitch in every location. So if you know a guy has a high spin rate fastball and a big curveball, guess what? You just limited it to 2 zones. He's not working into out. He's working up to down.
Dude,
Very simple. So now you tunnel
I
up,
love that.
and then right. So then you have a 2 seam fastball changeup guy, or
Hmm.
sorry, 2 seam slider changeup. You eliminate north to south, and now you're just going east to west. So now your approach is here to here. But then
Hmm.
he's probably only gonna you only look middle. You could look in a certain area, middle away,
Hmm.
and just go from there. But yeah,
No, I love it,
um,
dude. The
it's
approach making
yeah.
it a
That's
pitching
just the
machine,
easier part of it.
that is genius. I've
Yeah,
never heard someone reference it that way, and I love that. I am stealing that from you. I'm sorry. But that is
that's
that
fine. That's
that's
fine.
that's amazing. I always when I bring up approach, like very similar to you, I didn't really think about approach in college. Like it was see the
Yeah,
ball if it's the
at
straight
all.
one, if it's the straight one, I'm hitting it. Like
Yeah.
I don't care where it's at, dude. It could be the kid from Kansas throwing 98. Like if he
Mhm.
throws 98 anywhere in the zone, it's getting hit. And that
Yeah,
was just like kind of how our brand of baseball was. Like if they threw it in the zone, we hit it. If they threw it out of the zone,
yeah,
we struggled because we wanted to swing. And
yeah.
when you start to really figure out, like so many people talk about approach, right? And without giving you the explanation or the why. And I didn't find out, and the approach that I liked was obviously more field based. So I'm trying to stay through a general direction of it. So I'm
Hmm.
looking center, like right center, left center. And I didn't realize that by looking there, it gave me the opportunity to hammer off speed pitches too. I thought that I was supposed to hit them
Yes,
there.
percent.
So I was looking at it from the perspective of like, okay, I have to hit that crappy slider to right center or left center. Not that if I look heater and I'm staying on it and they throw the really bad slider that backs up, I can bang it down the left field wall or the left field fence and be right down the line, but it's
Right.
actually fair now.
Yeah.
If my sight is set to left field, I have no chance. It's foul by 50 feet.
Right.
But now you're playing the game within the game and giving yourself room for error on the field. Like how many
Yeah.
times do we smoke a ball and it's just over the base? Well, if my approach
Yeah.
is more left center, right center, that ball's either in the 6 hole or it's actually down the line and we get a double out of it or we get a triple, whatever it is. I don't have the wheels for a triple, but I'll say a double. I'll say a cruising double
Oh.
guy, but I never opened my eyes to it until I got to pro ball and actually had people like explain it. And I was like, "Hmm,
Yeah.
if I would have known this when I was 17, dude, come on. Like, are we
Oh my God.
serious?
It'd be different.
It'd be a
But
whole
that's the other
different
thing.
world
It's funny because the other thing about it is I actually have 2 different approaches for different velos.
for sure.
So
For sure.
last year, like I said, so this year I just want to look more up because I struggle with down. But
Yep.
last year for average arms 88 to 92, I'm quick enough to go backside. So
Hmm.
I'm able to look right side of the field. And I'm
Yep.
trying to hit a ball over the second baseman's head.
Hmm.
But for guys who are 94 plus, 95 plus, I'm trying to take their ball cap off. So I have to shift my
Yeah.
field to center because they have a little bit, their stuff's a little bit harder, a little bit sharper. I have to react a little bit faster.
No doubt
So
about
it's
it.
almost I'm anticipating. So some guys don't understand that because you also have to understand what your body's capable of
Hmm.
when it comes down to are you quick? Do you have a short swing or are you
Hmm.
fast? So
Hmm.
if you have a short swing, it makes up for lack of bat speed you may have. If you have bat speed, you might also
Exactly.
be able to. It makes up for how long your swing could be potentially, right?
Hmm.
So you have to understand what type of hitter you are, what type of swing you have, and then base your approach off of that. If you're someone with slow hands and a relatively medium swing, you're not going to be able to look back to that because you're going to get blown up all the time,
All day, dude.
right?
All
So you're going to
day.
be someone that's going to have to shift your field to center, or full side and anticipate if you want to even get to that inside pitch. And then that's just
Exactly.
going to screw up everything for you. So then you have to be disciplined on what you're swinging at and build your approach off of that.
1000%. Like I vividly remember my freshman year of college. I was at UIC and we were playing Notre Dame. Their midweek guy was like 84 to 88, like
Mhm.
a crafty lefty, but threw like 60% change up to a right-handed hitter. And we got diced. Our top of the lineup got absolutely dismantled. And I think I was hitting like eighth. I think it was eighth. And I don't even think we sniffed a ball in play. Like we maybe hit like a couple soft balls. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit on the changeup because the heater's terrible, right? Like I'm not gonna let it beat me. And what do? I hit a ball in, like right center, a double in the gap, and I walk back in, and my coach is like, what was your like trying to make a point out of it? Like, what was your approach, dude? Like,
Literally.
what are you looking for? And all the other guys are standing there. I'm like, I just sat on the changeup. And he's like, see, it's not that hard. Just look the other way and we can hit the ball. And it's like,
Uh,
yes, it's a fun, yes, it's fun when it works, but it is funny to me how many people just don't have that process in their mind. Like you have being adjustable is more
yeah,
important than being stubborn. And if you
100%.
if you can be adjustable, you have a chance to be stubborn in your approach when you make the adjustment. Like
Right.
it makes everything so much easier on you. I love it, dude. I approach is so good. Those are two of the really big points that I wanted to
Yeah.
touch on, like what you think in the box, and you crushed it. Um, one more piece, and then I'll let you roll because I don't, like I said, I don't want to keep you forever. Um, when you went from high school to college to pro ball, like what what changed from high school to college and then college to pro ball, but what like major transition? Easier, I guess. None of it's easy, but like what would you looking back on now, what would you do different from high school to college to pro ball?
That's a tough question.
I know I think about this all the time, and I have a couple younger guys that I work with that are like sophomores in high school, and I try to give them this piece of advice, but like I said, I'd love to hear your perspective on it. It is a tough question, though. I'm sorry.
So from high school to college, um, I would I would just be as prepared as I could be. I would
Mm,
I would understand that the coach recruited me for a reason, and I don't want to
mhm.
be someone I'm not. Like I wouldn't compare myself to everyone else. Dude, I remember my freshman year of college, and obviously Division 1, everyone's their best player in the state. Everyone's the
Yep.
best player on their team. So all the kids that I was with they're like no names in Jersey or like New York or whatever. You look them up, they're the best player,
Hmm.
and it's very easy to compare yourself to them. But your manager or your coach, like they recruited you for a reason.
Yep.
So it's very easy to get out of your own way, um, and try to be someone you're not. And that's when
For
feel
sure.
like you really start to fail and press, because all of a sudden you see this other kid who might be a sophomore or a junior who's got crazy juice, and you're like, I'm a freshman, I got to show him that I'm better than him, because you're
Hmm.
trying to fight for a spot, and you try to start overdoing stuff. You try to overthrow, you start to try to overswing, and you look like shit.
Yes.
And I remember we did a tea thing my freshman year. We did like a little mini boot camp for like a showcase basically, and
Yeah.
we did outfield throwing velo, and we did exit velo off of a tee, and then we did 60s. I'm like, my 60, I was like a 6'8", which was okay. We had one kid, remember Jamie Gallison? He was a
Oh yeah.
6'6" runner. So me and Jamie were in the same class, and Jamie was a 6'3" kid, shortstop. It was 93 across the diamond as a shortstop. Not very
Hmm.
smooth, but just a freak athlete. 93 across the diamond. So he came in as a shortstop, and they did that. Great.
Yep.
He runs a 6'6", absolute freak. Ends up getting down to like a
Absolute
six.
freak,
Dude,
dude.
ends up getting down to like a 6'4" by a senior. I'm like, how are you doing this?
Yeah, it doesn't make
The
sense.
most freakish part about it though is he then goes to the outfield, and we do our
Mhm.
outfield. We do an outfield pop time basically, and we're 250 feet out, and all the outfielders are literally It's a ground ball. Once you get it to home as fast as you
Yep.
can.
Yeah.
So I get it there in like sub 4 seconds, which was I guess considered really good. And they did a velo behind it. And like I was like 89, 90 miles an hour from the outfield my freshman year, but I got it there in like 3.7, which was kind of insane. And then Jamie comes in. First time they're like, "Hey Jamie, go from short to right."
Yeah. Go
So
have fun
okay,
out there, dude. Never been out there, but
have
have fun.
fun. Just do what you do. So he has his shortstop glove on, and I'm just gonna throw this as hard as I can.
Hmm.
So he does a running gun basically. He gets the ball, he crow hops, he takes his time, and he unleashes an absolute cannon. Nowhere near the plate, but he unleashes the ball at 98 miles an
I was
hour
just gonna say it was
at
close to
like
a hundy for sure.
yeah, at like 6 seconds his freshman year. I'm like, what the hell is this? Who is this kid? And then off the tee, I'm like, okay, let's do some tee velos. So I think my freshman year I was like 90, I was like 98 off the tee. I had the highest, I think I had the highest freshman exit velo, and then Jamie's like 96. I'm like, I'm looking at this kid. He's like, this is my competition. I don't know
Hmm.
how I'm supposed to compete with this kid.
Yes.
And then it's
Fact.
like I'm also competing with the senior. I'm competing with the senior, the sophomore who played and batted 400 last year, this junior who was the biggest freshman of the year. I'm like, what am I
Hmm.
doing here?
Yeah.
And it's so easy to get out of your way. But my
Hmm.
biggest advice, because it happens from high school to college and then college to pro ball, it's kind of an identity crisis of you not trusting your own ability of who you are.
Figure out who you
But
are
when
and
it comes
it follows, man.
and it's like it's trusting all the work you've put in, and whatever the coach sees for college,
Hmm.
that's what he sees some type of potential. If you want to know where you stand, you know what you can do, instead of think about it, go to him and be like, hey coach, or hey Skip, what do you got on me? Like
Hmm.
what do you want me to improve on? What type of player do you see me, and what do you need me to do to help this program?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
as opposed to just wondering, like like your mind's playing tricks on you.
Yep.
So instead of just, hey, like let this go crazy and then drive yourself crazy and compare and think, oh, the coach hates me, hasn't talked to me. Oh, he put me on the worst team in the inner squad. I must not be playing this year. When the fact is he has a plan behind everything. Like the managers are
Everything.
thinking 10 steps ahead. And the
Hmm.
thing is, like, if you let all the stuff that you can get caught up in, you
Hmm.
get caught up in, you're not going to play the baseball you can actually play, and you're not going to live to the potential they're expecting you to have.
Exactly. Dude, I
So, and
think
that's
Blanks was so I love Blanks. I have such a fondness for him and Bone and everybody over there, and even Corey, the one that got me there, even though he wasn't there when I was
yeah,
there. Like I think that piece that you touched on for the high school to college side, so many people are afraid to go and talk to their coach. And you cannot be afraid to go have a conversation when he is the one that's making the lineup. He is the one that's controlling scholarship money. He is the one that is telling all of the scouts in the area if you're worth a damn. If you have no ability to have a conversation, you are never going to get anywhere. Some people don't need to have a conversation.
yeah,
Fair. But I used to think it was so funny that like people were afraid to go and talk to him. Like I came in as a JUCO guy, like, who the hell am I? Like, I'm the next JUCO guy in the program, dude. They get JUCO guys every year. There's 5 or 6 of them every year. Like,
yeah,
that's okay. That's the way that they build guys. They got guys like you, they got guys like Jeff, they got guys like Sean, they got guys like they get dudes over there. Did get dudes.
yeah.
Still do get some dudes.
Not as many, but yeah,
Yeah, not as many, but there's still some dudes. That Agresti kid, I'm a huge fan of. I think that kid's
yeah,
fucking good. But
yeah,
aside from the fact, right, like there, it was the best player in every state. When I walked out there, I was like, this is a different world. Like this is a fun world. Like they know what they're doing. They get good players and they let them play. It's
yeah,
not like, hey man, you really suck today. Like, why can you not figure it out in the team meeting? Like, no, no, no. It's a
yeah,
conversation of them pulling you off to the side and saying, hey man, like, don't ever do that again. There's ways that they conveyed their message that I had utmost respect for. I think that it was a very good way of doing it. Now, again, were there some ways that obviously not everything is the best way, but it is what it is. I liked it. Um,
yeah.
And there's just so many things that go wrong when you are in your own head thinking about nothing and everything at the same time. Like you said,
Yeah.
well, he put me on the inter squad team. That's the worst team ever, and all the starters are on the other team. Okay, how do you know all the starters are on the other team?
Yeah.
How do you know? Yeah, hey, dude, he played 56 games last year. Okay, sure, but like, do they know the JUCO guy that they just brought in, or do they know the freshman that just got brought in that turned down second round money? Like,
Right.
do they know, or do you know? Like,
Yeah.
who knows all of these things, right? And I think the best way that I would relay information from high school to college is don't be a stat watcher, man. If you win at
Yeah.
bat,
100%.
if you win at bats and you're a quality at bat guy, you're gonna play. That's a guarantee. Nobody wants to take those guys out of the lineup. But the worst case
Yeah.
is we look at it as like he's 6 for 8, I'm 1 for 5. Well,
Yeah.
my four outs were laser like 110 miles an hour to the shortstop, second baseman, and center fielder.
Yeah.
That's gonna play. Just let it rock. Let it
Yeah.
rock into the time.
I definitely actually want to touch on that because that's a huge part. That's one of the main things when it comes to keeping you sane as a hitter.
Hmm.
Um, it's this is a part of baseball maturity that it's very tough because a lot of the high school guys I deal with, they're just like they're looking at their stats. I'm like, dude, I don't
All
look at
the
stats.
time.
I don't look
All
at
the
stats
time.
during my season. So it's like I look at it here and there. I'll take a glimpse just to see where I'm at, but like it's not something I focus on. So I have a quick story for one of the guys I played against last year, and he was on the High Point Rockers, and he wasn't doing very well to start the season. I think he was batting like under a buck 20 for the first 100 at
Okay.
bats, which is that's a struggle bus.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a tough start, man.
and the hitting coach for the team, he was or is or still was a scout for the Cardinals or a bench coach for the Cardinals, whatever,
Okay.
something like
Okay.
that. And this guy knows what he's talking about. And he convinced the manager, hey, keep him in. He has the worst batting average, but he has the best at bats. And he explained, dude, like every out he's made is literally a scorched line drive or it's a
Hmm.
quality at bat. He's moving a runner over. He's not striking out. He's working his walks. He just can't buy a hit right now.
Yep.
He's hitting the ball harder than any of the guys who are leading the league in average.
Which is
So the
which is
manager,
crazy.
it's baseball. So
Yeah.
the manager kept him in, and dude, like a month and a half later, the dude's batting like 350 with 15 home runs, and he got picked up by like a team in Mexico. It's like
Hmm.
it's like for me, I tell every single kid, what can you control when it comes down to it? And this is the part
Hmm.
of baseball maturity. What can you control? You can control a few things. Pitcher swing at, maybe kicking a barrel, depending. I
Hmm.
don't know if you can really control that, but it's the pitch you
Yeah.
swing at and how you react to what the hell's going on. You can
Yeah.
really only control two things that are going on.
Agreed.
So when it comes down to it, if you catch a barrel in a game, that's a win.
That's a
I've told so many
huge
players,
win.
dude,
Huge win.
barrel barrels keep you sane. Barrels are the
Yeah.
only thing in baseball as a hitter that keep you sane. If I go 0 for
Hmm.
4 with four barrels, I'm laughing.
Yeah.
I'm upset.
Yeah.
I'm laughing my ass off at the end. I'm like, why are you so happy? I'm like, dude, I just had a great day. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't something that I can control. I just beat the pitcher. He was supposed to make me strike out or give me weak contact. I just made his life a living hell.
Yep.
And now the catcher behind him has no idea how to pitch to me because I just torched every ball he had. Like
Exactly.
baseball evens out. And the thing is for that it's quality at bats just they help you out because you're understanding, hey, if you went 0 for 4 with 4 quabs, that's a great
Hmm.
day.
Exactly.
If you smoke 4 balls, that's a great day. Like
Yeah.
stop getting so caught up in all of the numbers. I understand that numbers dictate how good you are. They don't.
Yeah.
You could have a week, you could bat a week 300 and that means absolutely nothing because that's going to catch up eventually.
Agreed.
It's just it's yeah, that's I think that's the biggest part of baseball maturity, and that's the part that I went from college to pro ball that I kind of figured out. It's that takes a lot longer to figure out, especially because I've said it to so many kids and they don't get it. And they won't get it until they
They
really go through it. And it's like, dude, they barrel a day will keep you sane.
for
It
sure.
will.
For
And
sure.
it's like, because when you understand how hard the game is and how easy it is at the same time, it's like that's it.
It's the
It's
difference from taking BP and kind of spraying the ball around the field and being like, damn, that was a great BP. And
yeah,
then going into the game and you hit two barrels and it's like, good day.
yeah,
Good day.
great
And
day,
then all of
great
a
day.
sudden you're going bad. You spray the ball over the field like, why'd I hit the ball to why'd I flare that to right center? Or why did I shank that to left? Like why did I top
Yeah,
spun that one to left center? Like, dude, you hit it 105. It's
yeah,
okay. We're gonna figure it out. Like you'll get there.
yeah,
It's that difference, man. Like you could spray it, do the exact same thing when you're going good, and it's a smile. But as soon as
yeah,
it goes bad, it's over. Oh my God, picking
yeah,
apart every swing. It's like, dude, you can't get that crazy with it because you have to do it tomorrow, and you have
yeah.
to do it the next day, and you have to do it the day after, and you have to do it the day after. Like you have to start making it a process instead of just searching for the quick results. The quick results never come.
And that's, dude, I'm telling you, that is, I talk about it now, but I, for the last 2 years, 3 years, that is all I would do. If I was literally on the struggle bus, and if you look at every single year I've played baseball, from college to pro ball, I don't have the same stance. I'm
Hmm.
looking for a quick fix because
Yeah,
I'm looking for a feel. And
yeah.
I had an opportunity this past year to talk to Andrew McCutcheon for like 20 minutes.
That's
And
sick. That is
yeah,
sick.
and I was able to I asked him a few questions. And the biggest thing that I got out of it, he's like, dude, I never change my stance. I never look at my stance. I never look at my swing. And during season, my swing that I built in the off season is my swing going into the season. I'm never going to change that.
I love that actually.
So I
I
said,
love that.
so I said, what are you looking at? And during video, if I see you on your iPad or like whatever, what are you looking at in videos? I'm looking at my timing and my rhythm.
Hmm.
If
Was
my
I under,
timing,
over, all that kind of just the small stuff, dude, not the mechanics of it. I love that. That's awesome.
he wasn't even looking at, yeah, he wasn't even looking at that. He was looking at the pitch he was swinging at, and if his
Hmm.
timing and rhythm were right. If he was looking at his load, um, if he got his load up a little too late or a little too early, he knew it was going to be
Fair,
off.
fair.
And that's all he was looking at. He's like, I'm looking at my timing and rhythm based off of where I need to be when the pitcher's legs up or what at handbrake or whatever.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
was the pitch I wanted to swing at the pitch I wanted to swing at? Was it a pitch that was in my approach, or did I go out chasing?
Hmm.
And usually that does come from bad timing. If you're late, your
For
body frees
sure.
up and you don't see it well, and that's when you start chasing.
Head
So
flies, everything starts to go,
everything,
man.
right? So that's the one thing that I'm going to try to do this year, and it's just it's literally not change the stance. It's get
Yeah.
comfortable with the certain stance, because that's also gonna, the more you change stuff to look for an immediate result, the harder it's gonna be to have consistent results.
The more wrenches you throw in the pile, man.
100%. It's like,
Yeah.
why don't you trust all the work? Like for me, trust is a huge thing, to the fact that why have I never trusted the work I've put in the off season? Why am
Hmm.
I pressing so much for a hit? Why am I pressing
Exactly.
so much for a barrel when I can't get a barrel every day? It's not possible. I can't get a
Yes.
hit every day. It's not going to happen. It could,
Yeah.
but it won't.
It could, but it definitely
So
won't. It,
why am I pressing for something new? If I felt off today, what felt off? Was my timing just off? Simplify the timing, if
for
anything. Go to
sure.
maybe a shorter leg kick, change something small that directly impacts everything else. And for me, what I figured out over time, timing impacts everything. You're late, you're screwed.
Everything.
You can never be
Everything.
too early. You can never be too
Never
early.
be too early.
So
I
yeah.
love it. I
So
love it. Well, dude, like I said, I appreciate your time. This was
yeah.
this was a blast. I will absolutely be hitting you up in the future about doing another
But
one of these.
I'd love to.
Hopefully after like if let's go for like 30 this year, huh? After 30 and then
Uh,
we'll have a conversation on how we took the jump there.
sure.
But yeah, man. Like I said, I can't appreciate you enough, dude. That was a blast. That was great info. I can't wait for people to get to hear the info and put it into play, man. That's why we're here. We're here to pass that knowledge on and not
Yeah,
let anybody go not let anybody go without knowing what we know. That's the craziest part. Like we had to go for so long
literally.
without understanding information and taking it the way that we wanted to. Now we can pass it on to the next player or the next generation, whatever that is, and make it fun. But like I said, man, Anthony Brocato, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you for episode 4 of the Barn Talk. Um, any other things you want to touch on just before I cancel it out, or are we pretty set there?
No. Your mental is the biggest thing when it comes to baseball.
For sure.
You know,
For sure.
mechanics are important, but I always go back to two things when it comes to mental and mentality. And it's Mike Trout's mentioned, hey, like when if you go up to the plate thinking you're not the best player, you already lost.
Yeah.
So, like you mentioned on deck and like in stance or in box routine, like I
Hmm.
always am like my walking to the plate routine is just as important. And it's
Hmm.
I say to myself, I'm the best, and I have my chest puffed up, and I usually have a smile
Yeah.
on my face.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to enjoy it, right? So it's like it's going in there confidently, or at least pretending to be confident,
For
knowing
sure.
that you are the best player, and then when it comes down to the mental stuff I do this small little thing every time I hit. And it's I first take the positive out of every negative when it comes to baseball because there's so many
Hmm.
negatives.
So
Um,
many, dude.
so many
So many.
negatives, and it's so easy to get caught up in it. So when it comes to batting practices, and this is I think the easiest way to start making a positive into a negative or having a more positive mentality. And I got it from Ian Kinsler and he said every time I would take batting practice, you see a kid not acknowledge a positive or a good barrel, but he acknowledged the negative, be like, shit,
Hmm.
that shouldn't have happened.
Yep.
So every time he hits, it's after every barrel he says he chooses something, right? So he said, got you, bitch, every time. Every time he caught a barrel like the swing, got you, bitch,
I
got you, bitch,
love
got you,
that.
bitch. And
I love that.
every time there was a rollover or like a mishit,
Hmm.
silence.
Hmm.
So that is just so when you understand that the more you feed into something from like a mental
Hmm.
perspective, the more you feed into something, the more you will get in return.
For
So
sure.
you feed the positive, more positive will happen. You feed the negative, more negative will happen.
No doubt
That's just
about
how
it.
it is. Like, so that is I think that's a big thing that I teach a lot of the younger guys because for me, I always if I miss a ball, I'll find out I'll get positive out of it. Okay, great
Yep.
swing, timing was off.
Yep.
I'll give myself a little critique. Hey, great barrel, stay through it a little bit better.
Hmm. For
Right? It's
sure, dude.
just all these small little things, and I'll say, great swing. If I love it, great swing. If I don't,
Yeah.
I'll find a positive with it. I'll recognize it, but I'll find a positive out of it, so I don't just like put myself down for a bad swing. But it's
1000%.
taking the positive out of take the positive out of every single negative because you could find one. If you look for one, you can find one. And when you start
Hmm.
doing that, your mentality in baseball will start changing because you don't look at failure as failure. You look at it, like I mentioned earlier, as a lesson,
Hmm.
so it's a learning experience. That's all it is.
No doubt
So,
about it.
and it makes yeah,
I like to think of it as like you put your gold chip into the positive bin or the negative bin. If you have more in the positive, it outweighs the negatives in every aspect
yeah,
of that one bad swing you took doesn't feel that bad.
right.
It goes in the right way without changing anything. It's just a mindset. That's all it
Yeah,
is. You don't have to adjust your swing. You don't have to adjust just let it rock. Let it rock out the way that it should be. But no, like I said, man, I appreciate you. Thank you, Brock.
of
And
course. Thank you for having me.